Hi, this is Amanda Gilberg. I am here with my friend Lauren Hockhauser to record her life history as part of the mini oral history assignment for Judaic 417 at the University of Michigan. Today is Tuesday, January 23rd, 2018, and we are in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Lauren, do I have permission to record you for this interview?
You do.
Awesome. So at a young age, when did you realize you were Jewish?
I probably started to realize I was Jewish when I would go to my friends' houses and they'd have Christmas trees and I wouldn't really understand what that was or why I didn't have a Christmas tree, and then why they would get all these presents on one day and then I would get presents on 8 nights, and that's kind of when I started to realize that it was just different traditions, and Santa never came to my house, so I always felt a little deprived, but I guess I made it through. So
How did that change the way you viewed like the rest of the world and like the way you went about your life when you were younger?
I think I was just always aware that there were all these different types of people, and since I was always surrounded by them, like I was accepting of all people, friends with all people, and didn't really see religion as like a boundary for conflict or anything, because my whole life I was surrounded by people that were not Jewish. I'm from like a very non-Jewish area of Long Island, which is like really atypical, so even now when somebody's like, oh, you're from Long Island, like you're obviously Jewish, I'm like, yeah, but I'm not from like Jewish Long Island. Like everyone around me is Irish Catholic, and that's just what I grew up around. So I think that it's definitely made me more aware of the scheme of the world.
So what did like this Jewish realization of self mean to you?
I guess kind of it was just a different type of obligation and a different type of tradition, and I really valued that from a young age, like in Hebrew school around my family, since my grandpa is very Jewish and loves being Jewish. Like he blows the shofar for fun, Jewish, and so I think that it's just created value in my life and a sense of identity that is pretty strong, and I definitely identify as Jewish, and I don't remember the question. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, like what did that like Jewish realization like mean to you? Like because you lived in such a non-Jewish community, you said, did you feel ostracized? Did it make you feel that you needed to get involved?
I definitely, as I became more aware of the differences, since when you're young you don't like notice those things, I definitely did recognize the differences. The only time I had ever felt ostracized was when like there were swastikas blatantly like painted in the locker room in my middle school, like, and the school board was hanging up posters that had swastikas in them. Well, the art teachers were hanging up posters with swastikas in them because it was freedom of expression in German art, and this happened recently, a family friends of mine noticed them and was very uncomfortable about it, and the school board didn't necessarily think that they needed to take them down, and that was kind of a huge realization for me that like other people don't necessarily get it, and it definitely did push me to become more involved in Jewish life and Jewish community. Like I joined BBYO since I barely had any Jewish friends, and my parents thought it was important, so they forced me to go to meetings, which I hated at first but was very grateful for later on. It pushed me to like come to a school like Michigan where there are a lot of Jews, because I didn't want to go somewhere that there were not a lot of Jews. That was a big conversation in my family while I was like looking at schools. I joined a Jewish sorority, which is very different for me, something that I've never really been a part of. I've never had all Jewish friends, and since coming to Michigan, that's definitely been a huge difference in my life from high school even.
Okay. So, like, through the years, it seems that your Jewishness has definitely, like, affected your life growing up. Are there any instances that stand out to you?
I mean, I guess the whole anti-Semitism going on in my town, like, it's very obvious. Like, there's a country club in my town that Jews were not allowed to join until probably 5-10 years ago. I used to go with my friends, and I wasn't allowed to wear any Jewish jewelry. I wasn't allowed to be Jewish per se, like, and that was just always uncomfortable. Like, my family would meet this other family for dinner, and like, I don't even know why we would go. I guess why not, but it was just a very weird thing to live 10 minutes from this country club and like not allowed to be a member. But like on the more positive note, like I just have memories like like going to temple with my family and watching my grandpa do all these things and it was just really interesting because like when I was little I didn't know Hebrew. I still don't really know Hebrew, but I can read it and follow along. But he would blow the shofar, as I said earlier, and like just have such a relationship with the culture, and it was something that I always wanted to embody later on in my life just because I saw how much that it meant to him. Like he was not very Jewish until he met my grandma, and then all of a sudden like loves the religion, the culture, and all of that. And I think that the culture is something that I really value and have continued to value over time.
Well, now that you've talked a little bit about the past, why is your Jewish identity important to you today?
I definitely think that it's important to identify as Jewish, and I think that it's important to carry on the traditions like of my family, of the culture, of the religion in all aspects. I definitely know that moving forward I will continue to be involved in Jewish life because I think it's very valuable to connect with people that share very similar morals and values to you, and I think that's definitely very common among a lot of Jews from all over. And I found that being in a Jewish sorority, as I said, has allowed me to realize that more so than I did previously, because we're from such a wide range of places, and everyone comes together around certain things, and it's just, there's something really powerful in sitting in a service and everyone knowing the tune to the Shema or like something, any single prayer at all, and like sitting and having dinner and like wanting matzo ball soup. Like it's just like such a cultural and religious combination that I think is really valuable and both teaches myself and like allows me to teach others to be a better person and like not the right values, but like valuable morals and how to act on each other, with each other.
So there's a lot going on in our political climate right now, and especially concerning like Jewishness, and so I was wondering if you could just talk about how you feel as a Jew in the current like American context. Like there's a certain like difference to being a Jew and to being an American Jew.
Interesting question, Amanda. If we're being completely honest, I feel like in the current context, my Jewishness has not directly been threatened, but I do see how people can feel uncomfortable given the certain context. Certain things that are said can be seen as anti-Semitic. Certain actions can go against anything that presidents have done prior, and especially on like the University of Michigan campus, like BDS, like the whole BDS movement makes me uncomfortable just because A, I don't really understand why students feel the need to get involved in it. B, when it's not going to go any further than a CSG vote, and like B, like yes, it makes a statement politically like across like for the nation, but why would a school like Michigan want to support an anti-Israel like campaign when it's one of the biggest investors? Well, we invest so much in that realm. And I mean, I've never been to Israel, so like I am an American Jew, and like I don't have that deeper connection yet. I'll go on birthright eventually, but I think that I think that there needs to be a lot more tolerance and coexistence than there is, and it's something that needs to be worked for in ways that are not necessarily that are definitely underappreciated by people.
So you're about to you graduated,
I did.
but you're really about to enter like the real world. How do you see your Jewishness affecting yourself later in life?
I know that I will marry Jewish. That's for sure, because otherwise I'll probably be disowned by my family, which is sad in its own respect. That's another issue for another time. But I definitely will raise a family Jewish, just because I think that, as I said, there's a lot of tradition and cultural values that come out of this religion, and a really tight-knit bond seen between Jews that, like, may not exist otherwise, may exist otherwise. I don't particularly know because I don't have the experience, but I think it's really important to value that and to value the togetherness that comes with Judaism. And moving forward, I definitely intend to involve myself in temple and Jewish groups and stuff like that, and hold on to my Jewish connections that I have already, and enhancing those and working towards a better Jewish life.
All right, thank you, Lauren.
You're welcome.